enterprises who make this work slavery, the slavery of workers. And I think it should become also worthwhile for businesses to offer people better working conditions, because they know. When I've been to Nepal and India, I talk to people there, and they are aware of the fact in which countries situations are better and which ones are worse. So if other, at least, companies offer them better.
Thank you very much for your comments on that.
مقابلها 100 إنسان وفقا للاتحاد النقابات الدولية تصل إلى 4300 دولار للفرد الواحد، ما يجعل البعض منهم مضطرا على رفض بيوتهم.
That comes to my visa. If I lose this job, they will throw me out of the country. But I will still have a huge.
And sexual abuse is another thing. Of course, they will be vulnerable. And they are also economic exploiting countries, because there is a big population living on the money that is coming from these countries. So, for example, 23.8% of Nepal's gross domestic product is made of remittance. It's a big number of workers who are really living under really bad conditions. And let's think about it. They're going to spend almost $200 billion on the construction, actually, by the time the World Cup comes. So also it brings much more concerns about the human rights of the immigrant workers. Something good happened, only I would say, and FIFA, after that much discussion about and criticism about this Qatar and their attitude to immigrant workers, FIFA agreed that to add labor-related criteria before they decide the next host of the World Cup. Something you may think is positive, or maybe something just on the get track. There are, of course, some suggestions that are done to Qatar. Of course, Qatar should be that people are really getting their money. And of course, most of the immigrants, they don't have even the identity card. So ensuring that all migrants, they have identity cards is something else that should be done. Of course, there are some required identifications that Qatar is not doing since long time. There are international convention on protection of the rights of immigrant workers and also their family members. UN conventions, most of the UN conventions are not ratified by Qatar yet. They're not getting paid, or maybe not fairly. And most of the time, they're also doing some work actually they're not responsible for it. They have restrictions of freedom, they don't have their passports. The moment they enter the country, they give the passport to their sponsor. They are, of course, learning less than 30% of the average income that a Qatari person would get, unfortunately. Why it is this way?
I cannot sugarcoat things or use these things for my benefit. And I'm not some anti-regime or anti-governmental thing. Until or unless, if there is somewhere humanity is discouraged and someone is disrespecting the humanity. So you just only to be human to understand the pain of other human. And that's why I'm here. Before getting into facts and figures, because my colleagues, they just clearly told all the facts and figures. Let me tell you almost, according to statistics, 1,200 to 4,000 deaths are already registered. 4,000 families died. Don't think about persons. There are families. They're dead. They're done. And why there is no voice? How can a poor family raise a voice against a big nation? So, we are just till 2017, and there are 5 more years to go. The World Cup is in 2022. Imagine how much it can cause harm to humanity. So I'm not here to tell all the stuff. Just calculate by yourself. If 4,000 people are dead by past 3 years, how much death fall, as Mr. Stephen said. But they're not going there to live in this poor condition. They're going there to make conditions better. So, like, once I was sitting in a barber shop, like, back in my home, and there was a guy who worked in Qatar. So, we started talking. And I said, so when are you going back? He said, I'm not going back. I said, why? Like, I thought you got a job. He said, it's been 2 years I was there. And in 2 years, he told me the condition that there was one room for 13 people, and they could hardly sleep. But it's not over. The next shift is coming at night, so they have to leave, and next shift is coming on the bed. Even the bed place was shared. And talking about food, he said there was something you cannot eat, but we don't have money, so we have to eat that thing. Medical condition was awful. So the guy, I know him, like I met him like 2-3 years ago. He was really healthy, and this village guy, strong. And he looked like he got some, I don't know, some disease or stuff. He said, he said I could not run. My passport was with them. Imagine for one time, just, it's easy to imagine for one day. Okay, you don't have a place to sleep, you don't have food to eat, or you don't have anything. But imagine over and over again. Imagine waking up every day and thinking about you have to live this day like this. Not one day, not 2 days, years. And even at the end of the month, all this hope, all these things are just for the salary. And imagine you're not even getting that.
Make sure that the conditions for the employment are better. And also I want to ask...
Qatar, and when migrants who are working in Qatar were mentioned, of course some of them are businessmen also from Europe who are having pretty good life in Qatar. And this thing is, they are making business there, but the problem is, I think they are not the only ones. There are also Chinese and other ones. And for this, I think the public attention might help, because to make it very brief and short, the whole world is enter from Asia and from the West for our disadvantage.
Today we didn't talk about it, maybe about them also, but today we are talking about Qatar, but the other Gulf countries also, they should be also included in this human rights violation when it comes to immigrants. So, as I said, everybody has a part, but achieving...
Tonight, July the 13th, the Arab Federation of Human Rights successfully carried out the intended seminar on federalism in the Austrian capital, Vienna. A respected number of activists and academics in the human rights fields, as well as journalists, joined today's seminar with the title No to the FIFA World Cup in Qatar. In tonight's discussion, the Arab Federation of Human Rights addressed the serious violations experienced by workers in the construction of the stadiums that will host the World Cup football in 2022. And therefore, it will launch an international campaign in cooperation with unions and international organizations to put pressure on FIFA to cancel the tournament in Qatar.
Well, I think today we talked about different issues concerning Qatar and the situation of human rights of the migrant workers. As I said, this issue is not a new issue, and it's not new to the public either, because 5 years ago already there were reports also in Western media about the terrible working conditions of migrant workers in Qatar. And now 5 years have passed by and the situation hasn't changed. So the question is why, and I think one main reason is there is not enough public pressure. There is some public pressure and there is some activity of the United Nations, of the international community, but still it is very little, and there needs to be done much more. Because we are talking not only about migrant workers with bad conditions or relatively bad conditions. You will have this also in other countries, but in Qatar we are talking about a main issue, because we are talking about the World Championship in soccer in 2022, where really now billions are being made, billions, and where the situation is worse also, I think, in many respects to those of other countries. Many workers are dying there. They're simply dying there because they don't have even the qualifications for the work, and the weather. It's hot and humid and and they're living like 14 people tied together in a little room. So what can change this is, I think, first FIFA wants to have a big audience also in the year 2022. And when people realize that they are now then sitting there in a football stadium which has been built under such terrible circumstances, which actually slavery work, yeah? Then maybe they'll, at least in the Western countries, we can make a bad atmosphere which will make it less popular watching or supporting this World Championship.
Today I was here to share my expertise actually about human rights and about the human rights and especially the human rights violation about the immigrant workers in Gulf countries. And today we were discussing mainly about Qatar. And we know that in Qatar, immigrant workers, they're like really living and working under really bad conditions. So today we were here a little bit to share our expertise and experiences also. And I was sharing also about some research results that I got from Human Rights Watch and Human Rights Organization. So I hope we could raise a little bit the awareness about it, and the international media or international community also will be really looking deeper into this theme, and maybe we can achieve something just to, you know, like elevate and like make better the situation of immigrant workers in Qatar.
Being representative of South Asian countries, because you know they have the voices unheard, so they cannot have their voice. So being the voice of them, I'm just saying and requesting all these nations. So you should put pressure on Qatar so that they can provide proper health care and proper accommodation to all these South Asian employees there. So that's all. That was the main focus. But apart from that, I shared my personal experience because